Rev up your engines! I'm going to show you a little bit about alternative transportation. Now with the price of gasoline going up and up, maybe you're thinking about an electric bike. Well, I got 3 different ones here, and I can show you all kinds of interesting information about them. Do they work? What do they cost? What do you get? Now, even though they're all made in China, I gotta say they're pretty well made. This Vitalin AT7 is $13.99. This Polarna M6 is $14.99. And this Wave is $15.99. So this is the most expensive. You knock $100 off, you get this one. You knock $100, you get off this one. What do you get? Do they last? Well, I've been testing them out for quite some time now, and I gotta say, I'm actually surprised at the quality of these things. A lot of the parts are the same, being made in China. They got the same tires, 20x4. They're all 20x4 tires, and I gotta say, these fat tires are phenomenal. We were riding yesterday through fields. I'm an old man, right? I'm 69 years old. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna lose it going through these big tractor treads and mud holes and stuff. But no, those fat tires, you drive right through them. They're not like the skinny tires. When I was a kid, I had a 10-speed bike. Let me tell you, those skinny tires, you're always sliding, losing. I took a corner once, and I flew off of the bicycle. I survived, but if I would have been one of these, I probably wouldn't have wiped out. You don't lose the friction. Those fat tires are great. Now, when I first got this Wave, I was kind of peeved because the front tire was flat. I thought, gee, they sent me a bike with a front tire that's flat to check out. But what it was is, the tube. Yeah, they put it together wrong and the tube was pinched. And when the tube was pinched, it got ripped when they filled it with air. So, I ordered a couple of these from Amazon, the tubes. It's just universal tube size. I took it off and put it on with my bare hands. So if you've ever done a skinny bicycle tire, you gotta take it apart, being real careful, using screwdrivers. They actually have tools that are kind of wide, spade it out, tire remover tools to break the bead and then pull the tire and then fish the tube back in and put it together. But these fat tires, they're so easy to work on. When you let the air out, they're pretty soft. I just use my bare hands, and I'm no Superman. Aired it up, no problems at all. I gotta say, I'm impressed by these fat tires. Now, of course, they are electric bikes. You turn it on, press the button, then the electric bike comes on. When you push the throttle, whee, it goes by itself. But when you're on a power course, you can pedal it. This particular one has a 7-speed Shimano derailleur. So just for giggles, I thought, okay, I'll turn the power off and just ride it as a bicycle. I thought, okay, these fat tires, it's going to be hellacious pedaling with them because of the rolling resistance. But no, I went up and down the hills of Rhode Island, no problem at all. You can see on the gauge, this is something that kind of amazes me. The most expensive one, it's $100 more than the Polarna, and it's $200 more than the Vitalin one is. And even though they're all rated the same, 48 volts with a 15 amp hour battery, all have a 750 peak watt motor in the hub, each one of them. This one, that's one, and that one. For some inexplicable reason, the more expensive one lasts longer on pure electricity. As you'll see, I'm charging up the Vitalin. I'm charging up Polarna. But I just drove this last night 16 miles. And look, it's still got 90% of its battery left. So I do have to say, for longevity, this is the one I would have bought. You know, I didn't buy any of them. They just send me the stuff, and I say, look, I honestly test them out, tell people what's good, what's bad, but you can't pay me to advertise because I don't do that kind of stuff. Wave one lasts much longer. I don't know why. They got the same size tires, $200 more than the cheapest one, and $100 more than the mid-price one, but for some reason, it goes the furthest. They have the same rated battery, they have the same rated hub motor. I don't know. Maybe they build them better with less friction in the bearings. I don't know. But that one lasts the absolute longest on electricity. Now, of course, my cool Copple Fat Gator electric scooter goes further, but it's got an insane battery in it. This baby's got a 60-volt battery with 40 ampere hours instead of 14.5. But it's a lot heavier. It goes a lot faster. It can go 45 miles an hour. But, of course, it's got one big disadvantage. It has no pedals. when you run out of power, you're pushing this baby. Of course, they're different vehicles. This baby's street legal, license, headlights, horns, got the whole thing. But then again, here's another advantage of the electric bikes. You can take them anywhere. You take them on bike lanes. You're not supposed to take a licensed scooter on a bike lane. I know people do. They take the license, turn signals off. That's technically illegal. The electric bikes can go anywhere. After all, they got pedals on them. You can pedal them home. You run out of power, you can pedal them home. And they're perfectly fine for pedaling. Now, if you want to split hairs, the most expensive one has a 7-speed Shimano, while the Polarna has an 8-speed Shimano, as does the Vidlin. It's an 8-speed too. So really 1 speed more. I think, oh, that much difference. I don't have any problems with any of them going up the hills here in Rhode Island. They all work perfectly fine. Yeah, you get a little bit lower gear on the 8 speeds than you do on the 7 speeds, but they both work perfectly fine. I personally like the design of this VeloWave because it's a step-through. It's real easy to get on. They're easier to ride with a step-through. I kind of like the step-through design myself. I have to say, I haven't had any problems with any of them yet, other than the more expensive one came with a flat tire because they put the tube in, but I kind of enjoyed taking that tire apart and putting a new tube in because I didn't realize how simple it is to do. I could do it on the road very easily. I wouldn't have to worry about needing all these tools because those fat tires, they come off and on real easy. The beads are really to take off with your bare hands. They ride like bicycles, but not like the bicycles I had as a kid because they all have a front suspension with 2 shocks on the front. But if you're into comfort, you're going to go more for the middle range one. As you can see in this Polarna, the front shock's here, but it also has a big mono shock for the back. It's like my racing motorcycles. The swing arm goes up and down. That's the rear shock. So you get shock absorbing both for the back tire and the front tire. So yes, in the very potholy roads of Rhode Island where I am at the moment, that rides much better than the others. There's no arguing that because it's got front and rear suspension when you check the other bikes. This is just a solid frame going to the back. There's no suspension in the back. And the same goes true for the VeloWave. Now it's an aluminum frame, very nicely made, but there's no suspension in the back. So when I ride that out in the country here, out in the field, I spend a lot of time standing up on the pedal, just like you would if you were on a dirt bike out in the wood, because the suspension in the back is non-existent. The front one's fine, but the back is non-existent. Well then, if you're thinking about going to electric transportation to save gas money, hey, what's the next thing? What are you going to use it for? Let's say you're going to use it as just a standard commuting transportation bike. Well, the VeloWave's perfectly fine. It's got a nice aluminum suspension, welded in, solid, lasts a long time, and it actually has the longest range. But these 2 bikes are different. They fold in half. If you're the type of person who wants to throw it in your trunk or in your SUV, you release it, and the thing folds in half. Then you clip this, and the whole handlebar folds down, so you can put it in a small space and take it places. Both of those fold in half, and you can take them on trips. Especially if you want to bring 2 of them, you can fold them up and fit them in, especially in an SUV. If you put the back seats down, stick them in. You can't do that with the other bike. Or let's say you're commuting to work, and your work has a limited space. Well, you can bring this in the office, fold it up, it doesn't take up much space. All 3 of these bikes are relatively heavy bikes. They're pretty hefty. They're not going to be flying up over the handlebars. Realize they have front and rear disc brakes, but not just some cable-operated brakes. They all have the same hydraulic brake system, just like in a car or a motorcycle. You take that out, you put in, as it says right here, you look closely, it says, instead of brake fluid, it uses mineral oil. They have drilled rotors front and back, every single one of them. They stop even better than my racing motorcycle's brakes. Of course, the racing motorcycle weighs like 500 pounds. They're heavy for bicycles, but they don't weigh 500 pounds. A line electric bike weighs 70 pounds with the battery. Now, most people with bicycles that race bicycles, oh, that's heavy, that's insane. But here's the weird thing. They may weigh 70 pounds, but they're well balanced and they ride fine. They don't feel like they're a really heavy bike. You get on these fat tires, they handle well. Especially you take it out in the country, or we take it on the beach down here in Rhode Island. They are fun. You don't get stuck. They just handle great. And the advantage of this is, yeah, pedaling in the sand can be a pain in the butt, right? Well, this has an electric motor in it, so you don't have to do that much pedaling in the sand, and they're really good for going around. If you live somewhere where you could ride a bicycle to work, you might seriously consider one of these things. Sure, they're all made in China, but they do a pretty good job. I mean, my grandson's been driving this one around. He's a 21-year-old maniac, and he weighs about 230 pounds. he hasn't broken anything on it, which surprises me because he almost always breaks everything. Although I do have to say, every time we've gone riding, he's run out of electricity on this. You saw mine. We just went on a ride for 15.9 miles. He ran out of power about 3/4 of the way through. That's why I'm charging it up now with my cool Blue Eddy charging system here. But the VeloWave, you notice, isn't being plugged in because we went on the same trip. Still has 90% of its charge left. And yeah, I don't weigh 230 pounds, but I'm no lightweight either. They're pretty solid built vehicles. One thing I was worried about was, okay, yeah, they're made in China. Where the heck are you gonna get parts for these things when they break? Amazon. That's where I got the tubes from. I looked up, I haven't worn them out yet, but they're hydraulic brakes with brake pads, just like a car and a motorcycle. They sell those on Amazon. Rims, you can get all kinds of stuff these days on Amazon. Standardization, they got the same tires, they got the same wheels, they got the same Shimano derailleurs, they got the same hydraulic brake systems. Getting parts for these things isn't all that bad, and it's dirt cheap too. So if you're getting tired of the high price of gasoline, maybe you get into an electric bicycle. Hey, I'm using mine for my work commute. Mind you, my work commute is from here into the bedroom on the other side of the garage, so I don't have all that far to go. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.